And ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining another sponsored interview. This one is actually an interview with the company or one of the co-founders from the company, APPICS. We have Uma on the line. How are you, Uma? Over in UK,
Great.
correct?
Yes, thanks for having me. I'm
Yeah,
good.
definitely. Yeah, so I'm really very excited to be doing this one because one of your I don't want to call them employers but helpers for the project is a friend of mine from the Webbot community. So when she approached me with this idea, I really was excited for her, excited for the whole team, and I did a deep dive into it, and I thought, wow, this is great. I use Steemit. So when she told me this was going to be kind of based on top of the Steemit blockchain, you guys, and we'll get into that, how you'll be using a Steemit token. I was excited. So I'm glad to have you on. If you don't mind, just kind of giving the audience a little background about yourself, and then we'll kind of get into APPICS and what that all means. Because you normally there's a, you don't just jump into something. Normally people who co-found new companies, they have a background in this space and they have a passion for it. So kind of give us your background and how you got into the crypto space and everything.
Sure. So basically, how this all started was I always say two things. My main two things why I am where I am today, how I founded APPICS, co-founded APPICS, was basically it started in 2012 going to 13, which was when I for the first time heard of Bitcoin. Now, the person I heard of about Bitcoin from is actually my co-founder and CEO. His name is Tony Winchester. He is a Bitcoin pioneer. He's one of the first ones to own mining machines in Germany, and back then that was something like incredibly new, and so no one really knew what this was all about. But obviously, it was working for him. And so at that time I was still quite young, but I was and this is the second thing. So number one is I got very lucky. I had a mentor from an early age on who happened to be in this space and taught me about it. So I've learned since like 2013, started doing research, just got really interested in it. And then the second thing is I always say curiosity drives me. So
Hmm.
I was always very curious about how it works, the structure of first Bitcoin is the thing that gets you interested, but then
Hmm.
blockchain is what keeps you interested. Where when you go beyond, the Bitcoin, the financial aspect, what you can really do when we utilize blockchain technology, how we can sort of decentralize pretty much any industry you can think of. And so that's what got me really excited. And so I was doing like started trading and doing all these things, investing on the side, but never like fully got into it because it was just not something you like normally would do. It was
Right.
just so common. So on the side, or mainly, while I was still going to school, I was mainly starting a digital marketing agency with the same kind of people I'm working with now. So we're very
Nice.
close, we work very well together. And so we had a marketing agency for a while, and crypto, still doing crypto, like we still had the mining machines at our office, but there was no connection. Um,
Yeah.
until in 2016, we discovered a new coin on the market on CoinMarketCap, which is like, the newspaper you check daily when you're in the crypto space.
I know.
Um,
Do you remember when CoinMarketCap only had maybe 50 coins, or it was only one page? There was no pagination. Those were the days.
exactly. And so basically found Steam, the first like a
Hmm.
cryptocurrency tied to a blogging site called
Right.
Steemit. And again, Tony told me about this. He was like, "You got to check this out." And so immediately, like, I jumped on it, and I posted my first blog post July 2016. The company launched in May, so we were early adopters on the platform. Got recognition quite fast. The company, even the people of the company, they saw us posting because they liked what we posted, and so we got in touch with a lot of people and we kind of built our Steemit community. I was going to the first event, Steamfest 1, and then in Amsterdam, and then Steamfest 2 in Lisbon. I was just speaking there about, even back then, I was speaking about mass adoption of blockchain technology, because it was just such an exciting topic back then, and it still is now.
Right.
So that was my introduction. So through Steemit, I got even more excited because now I saw how the technology can be used to really draw in mass attention and make blockchain mainstream, basically.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's interesting because I've been in Bitcoin and cryptos for about 5 years, and shortly after I got in, I started looking into the mining side of things and started doing that pretty heavily. But I started mining on the script coins, not Bitcoin at that time, Litecoin, and a whole bunch of others. But it's interesting to see that you were talking about Bitcoin. You know, they used to say, like, you got Bitcoin, the capital B, and Bitcoin, the lowercase b. Lowercase b meaning the actual coin, and the capital B meaning the blockchain. It's interesting that you saw, even back then, because then it was a lot of hype just over coins. It wasn't much hype about blockchain, right? So it was good. And I just want to ask you, like, what's made you see that it was more than just a cryptocurrency, that this was an evolution or even revolution in blockchain? Kind of talk about that.
Yeah, so starting with just realizing that there are so many cryptocurrencies, like with Ethereum coming in, which enables you, to build decentralized applications on an existing blockchain. Like, what can you, like, all the amazing things you could build on there. And then 2016, forward to that, Steam was really the blockchain that made me realize, like, wow, what can you do with this? Like, you can turn likes into currency. That's
Yeah,
insane.
yeah, it is.
That kind of, I think, was the point where I realized a lot more. Even though in, like, between 2013 and 16, there was a phase of, like, a transitioning of realizing every single day more and more about the space and how it can change our world, basically.
Yeah, that's awesome. I started on Steam and I use it. I'm an advocate for it. I tell people to look at it all the time. It's just amazing that Steam it isn't bigger than it is today. You know what I mean? Like, and I think it's just there's a disconnect with users. They're not seeing the benefit of using anything other than Facebook or Instagram or Twitter. They don't see the value in their own worth, if you want to say so. Like I said, I was so excited about Steemit when I found out about it, and really Steemit was the first application I ever used on the blockchain that I could say I'm using it daily, not to just speculate on price of a coin, right? So that's awesome that you jumped on that early. So tell us about APPICS. And tell us about your co-founders. They seem to be very passionate about the arts. I know Mr. Winchester, I saw, was a dancer. And so kind of give us the reason why you guys thought about bringing everything together onto the blockchain and creating a social media network like this.
Sure. So, I mean, basically, we always had this idea of, like, we have both sides. We know the artists, we know the mainstream world, we understand it, we have a digital agency, and then there's this new emerging industry, blockchain technology, cryptocurrencies. But how do you bring these two worlds together? So we always thought about, like, we have to find a way to connect the two. And then when the technology, Steam, came around in 2016, it was just kind of like law of attraction, or whatever you may call it.
Right.
But it just a way where it was immediately we realized we have to do something about this and use it the right way. And because, like you said as well, Steemit especially in the beginning was very difficult, to onboard new users because it is such a techie platform, right?
Yeah,
And, like, it
yeah.
reminds me more like a Reddit style, where
Right.
not like the most beautiful website. Like, we have to admit that, right? It's
Yep.
not an application like Instagram, and it's made for it transitioned to be like a blogging site rather than a social media platform.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we saw that and we knew we had to do something about this, we basically spoke to the team about it, to the Steamin team, and told them how passionate we were about doing all this. And eventually we just decided we either have to do something on the marketing side there to promote Steamin, or we could do even more and build a project that we believe to be to be mass adaptable and to be the next social media, and then base it on and support Steam at the same time. And
Yeah,
so,
and so I want to chime in on that because I think that's the biggest part of this project that I thought was really nice. Like this is the first, if and correct me if I'm not wrong, if I'm wrong, this is the first application that's using what we call the smart media token, correct? From
yes,
Steam. Yeah, that's great because I'm familiar with like there's an application you know about. I'm sure you know about DTube, right? Where you can, I forgot the gentleman's name who created DTube, but that sits on top of Steam, its blockchain and application layer. And then I used to use another app called Steep Shot, which was trying to replicate the Instagram user experience, but on the Steemit blockchain. But tell us a little bit, like, what's the difference between what they were doing, what DTube is doing, and what you're doing? Because there is a difference.
yes. So first of all, with smart media tokens, the introduction of that, it enables you to create a project from scratch, really utilize the technology. So everything that the Steam blockchain offers, we can take, but then we can customize it to our needs. We have our own we have our own currency, the APPICS token or Zap coin, whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so we can very nicely like build our own a community and focus on that, and just add on or build on top of the Steam blockchain, which is insane. Like I can't wait for the technology to be launched, the SMT, because all we have to do is pretty much connect it to our
Nice.
applications. That's going to be very nice to swap over and start with that, because yeah, SMT is an incredible way to just realize your vision by using the existing blockchain, right? The idea of turning likes into currency exists. But then what we're going to do is add on certain things like we don't just have a mobile application, but what we do is, for example, we build sub communities, and the content is not going to be filtered by minors, but by social media influencers. We have an
Nice.
integrated shop system, for example, and we are going to have different ways on how to structure and moderate content. So it very much what we're doing just aims at the average social media user. We want to keep it as simple as possible, and there should be like the least barriers. And so that's really what we're focused on. And it's amazing that we can just connect that to the Steam blockchain.
Yeah, because one of my things about blockchain nowadays is that actually we don't even want the user to know they're on the blockchain. We just want them to receive the benefits, reap the benefits from being or using an application that is blockchain based. So that's great that you're going to make it seamless for them. I did see in one of your promotional videos something about a debit card connectivity. Is that something that's coming down the road, or?
So yes, we're working on a lot of things, on a lot of partnerships and deals. Of course, a lot of the what you saw in the video isn't implemented yet, but it's going
Right.
to be. It's certain steps on the road. It's more that we had, like, for us, it's so insane because we had this vision already back in, like, going from 2016 to 17. So before there wasn't even the announcement of SMT, of smart media tokens. And so we started to develop this concept, build our team out, and we put up this. We even created this video, right, that you saw, our promo video,
Mm-hmm.
before the SMT was even announced. So like we knew our vision, and then it was just a matter of time to have this technology be announced, because we were very well connected also to the Steamin team. So we knew there was something going on. And then when it was announced, that for us was just, it was just, yeah, it was a perfect timing. And
Yeah.
great coming together.
Yeah, that's great, man. I'm excited for you guys, and that's great that they decided to come out with the SMT. I think that's going to really
Mhm.
probably help you guys scale up faster, right?
And also, I mean, you have to look at, like, for example, all these cryptocurrency projects, most of them, I don't want to say all, sorry, but a lot of them, they they have brilliant minds behind these projects, and they're so focused on the technology, which is amazing, which is great. But when you're so focused and you have an amazing tech team, you need to have, you know, the complementary side, which is the marketing aspect, the branding. And so that's what we're really bringing in, as well as the tech expertise coming from our background and people who've been in the crypto space for a long time. And so merging the two just seemed very natural.
Right.
And yeah, we really know how to communicate, and we always say bridge the gap for the average person to enter the crypto space without and benefit from blockchain without having to understand the technology. So that's
So,
what we're all about.
so let's talk about. I want to back up a little bit because you talked about utilizing Steemit, Steemit's platform even before the SMT came out. But was it that you guys decided to go with the Steemit platform just because you guys use it, you saw how easy it was, or was there more of a technical reason? And what I mean by that is you got like Steemit, right? What Dan Limmer built, and then you have like something like Ethereum where the throughput as far as transactional speeds and cost on the network to do things, i.e. gas on the Ethereum network, would make something like this, APPICS, almost impossible to do on Ethereum, correct?
Yeah, it's a thing of scalability, right? After a while, like, you could start with Ethereum, and that's actually, it's funny you say that because that was our initial thought.
Mm-hmm.
But then actually after, even I was speaking to Ned, CEO of Steam, and like a couple other people who were just so much more advanced, and they understood that what you need in order to scale it. And Tony was
Right.
telling me as well, that's not going to work. You know, it might work for a couple of weeks, months, but in order to really grow the platform, you have to have a blockchain that is made for the social media space, and
Mm-hmm.
that's Steam.
Yeah, so that's great that you guys are positioning yourselves early in that space on the Steemit blockchain instead of going the route of a lot of these ICOs, which I just wonder sometimes, like like you said, these teams, they have brilliant ideas, brilliant people behind them, but I just can't see how they're going to roll out a lot of this without being more centralized. They may have a little portion, 10-20% of it on Ethereum to just kind of use the buzzword that we're using, the Ethereum blockchain, but that's great to see. So let's talk about the current state of social media. We kind of talked about APPICS and what you guys are trying to accomplish here. Let's talk about what is wrong with the current social media industry. Data sharing. You name it. So let's kind of get that conversation started.
Yes. I mean, so I don't really want to talk about like the recent scandals of Facebook, for example, but in general, when we just look at the social media space and how it is controlled by these centralized companies, I always think in general, I always say like centralization in general isn't the problem. It's not really that it's bad to have certain people navigate and take the role as showing where the platform could go, taking a certain role. But
Right.
the problem is the people that are in place, and the and as soon as the power gets abused. And
Right.
so we've seen that happening over and over again, when it comes to censorship, when it comes to payouts, and biased algorithms.
Hmm.
I mean, the algorithm thing is huge, right? That you now don't even reach 10% of your followers, something like that. And then the other thing that for me was just huge is the payouts. I
Hmm.
mean, these companies are literally making billions of dollars
Right.
off of selling the attention, our attention to advertisers. That's their business model.
Hmm.
Um, Now that alone, I would say, is not the main problem, because of course advertisers are part of a business model, as long as the users, so the people who are creating the revenue for the company, they're getting their fair share as well, so that it's sort of like mutually and fairly distributed. So I wouldn't say what we're doing or what blockchain creates is the perfect solution, but it is a step in the right direction, and it is better than what we have in place right now, the system that we have in place right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and I agree. You know, there needs to be a balance. There needs to be a balance of centralized control, and you know, decentralized aspects of an application. So, what do you think? How are you guys going to handle the whole censorship subject? As far as, let's say there is some inappropriate content that's being published on the APPICS platform. How are you guys deciding to deal with that?
Yeah, so besides program systems that we have in place, what we're really also focused on is having manual sort of not gatekeepers, but people watching over the content. And
Mm-hmm.
then there's this downvoting feature where whenever there's something being against or violating the terms and conditions, so meaning you upload content that's not yours, or it's violating, if it's violent content, then that can get of course like become invisible on the platform. So that's one of the things that we really are focused on when it comes to just people, especially trolls on the internet. You know, there's tons of people just posting things that that maybe isn't theirs, or where
Right.
it's not great content. Then what we've seen amazing on the Steamin, on actually Steamit, is how great that works when people start getting paid for value, because
Yeah.
now they don't want people to earn something that they don't deserve. And
Right.
so we have this whale system in place on Steemit also, which is going to be a little bit on APPICS, is going to be a little bit different, because the higher positions are going to be experts in their field. So that's going to be social media influencers that have high level of tokens in their account. Their voting power is higher, and they understand their community. They understand what's quality content, and what deserves to be upvoted, and what needs to be downvoted as well. So there's going to be manual as well as automated systems in place.
Gotcha, gotcha. So let's talk about one gripe I do have about Steemit is the way the onboarding process goes. As you know, you set up an account and then you wait like 3 or 4 days, or even longer sometimes, depending on how busy they are. How is it going to work with APPICS, and will that individual get a starting balance like we do with Steemit?
Yes. So we are actually currently working exactly on that. The sign up process is very important, and it's a matter that also the Steam team is working on. The other thing is there's going to be a balance. You are going to have a balance in your account where you can start voting and you can start using the application. So
Nice.
right now we have a test net out, which is for small for our community right now, for our team, and then there's going to be some of the early investors that we already onboarded from our pre-sale.
Mm-hmm.
So we're testing out the app and seeing also how that would work, and eventually with the sign up and the delegation process.
Okay, that's great. Interesting there. That's good to hear that you guys are really working on solving that one hiccup that I think will, if solved and implemented correctly, will lower the barrier to entry, and adoption will go up at a faster pace if that can be solved for Steemit and also APPICS as well. So let's talk about, you guys are actually in the middle of an ICO raise. Is that correct?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you're in the what round are you in? I think I saw that you weren't. This wasn't the first round. You're in C. Your C round, C stage.
Correct.
Okay, and so who's able to participate in this ICO?
There's no minimum investment required, but there
Okay,
is a
that's great.
KYC. So we're based in Switzerland, which means we're undergoing FINMA regulations.
Mm-hmm.
And so that means, right, as of right now, we are not accepting investors from the mentioned countries like US
Right.
and yeah, like China, and you know the deal. So
Yep.
that's
Yep.
basically what we're doing right now. But even though like you can invest and do the KYC, and then afterwards we'll review it, and yeah, and while it's still under review, your tokens are basically on hold, and then either we're going to give you a refund if you're not approved, or you're immediately going to receive the tokens.
Okay, excellent. That's good to know. And yeah, that's great that you guys incorporated in Switzerland, because that is a very friendly tech or ICO blockchain country there. So that's good that you guys were forward thinking on that point as well. Um, any exchanges you guys are looking at, or is that not really the focus?
It's not the focus as of
That's
right
good.
now,
Mm-hmm.
but we've been approached by a lot of people. We're actually on a global tour right now. So London, where I'm at, is the last stage. I'll be speaking tomorrow at the Global Blockchain Expo.
Mm-hmm.
And before that, we were on tour going from like Dubai, Finovate, World Blockchain Token Summit to Token Fest, San Francisco, LA. And so at all these events, we're just meeting a bunch of amazing people and teams that want to work with us. And so we're looking at so many different yeah, options,
Okay.
opportunities that we can take when it's time.
Excellent, excellent. So the token sale ICO offering, the initial coin offering is a total of 120 million tokens at 15 cents,
Correct.
and their max supply is 240 million. So the remaining token supply, what are you guys planning on doing with that? That's not up for ICO.
Yeah, so tokens that are not being sold, they're going to be burned. So
Oh,
they'll
okay. Cool. Excellent, excellent. That's good to know as well.
so we do have a lot right now going on. As I mentioned, we're on tour. We're working very hard, and we really want to make this about the community. So we appreciate feedback as well as the participants in our bounty program.
Mm-hmm.
You can go, for example, on ico.appics.com and not just invest. Of course, you can be an investor if you like our project, but you can also start by spreading the word about APPICS,
Mm-hmm.
and then you'll be rewarded with stakes, which will later be transferred to APPICS tokens. And yeah, they will be in your wallet once the app launches. So that's a great way of earning APPICS tokens if you're not an investor, or even if you are, to help grow the community. So that's one thing I do want to mention, which I think is it's a great initiative to be part of.
Excellent, excellent. So I have that. I have that on the screen right now, and you guys can jump over there to epics.com, and you'll see on the top right corner, you'll see bounty program, or in the middle. It depends on your resolution, but that's excellent. And like I said, I think this is what needs to happen in the social media realm. I think you're the first social media ICO that I've interviewed, and I'm just excited that you guys are taking this plunge first on the Steemit blockchain. So that's great. Thank you again, Uma, co-founder of APPICS, for joining me today on Crypto Blood.
Yeah, I appreciate it, and I can't wait. And I'm looking forward to a disruptive period, an incredible era, an amazing time we live in, and I yeah, can't wait.
Absolutely. We sure do. Guys, visit appics.com and join the bounty program, or take part of the token sale. The round C ends in a day and a half.
Exactly. So this is really the last chance, and we're very looking forward to have amazing announcements as well. Where right now
Okay.
by the way, in LA, where we're setting up an office, also we have set up an ambassador team with amazing influencers and people coming on board So I think it's going to be huge. The lawn's going to be huge, no matter if the tokens. This is one question we always get asked: what happens, if the stop group doesn't get reached or whatever? We have such a strong community of people supporting us, and we even had a team of like 20 people back when we started, just because they were so passionate about the vision. So yeah, just one thing I want to say is that we're really focused on the product in itself. If you believe in the vision in the product, then the ICO might be for you. If not, still be a part of it, sign up to the newsletter, and then definitely be a part when it launches. So yeah.
Excellent. Yeah. Speaking of influencers or people working with the company, I saw you guys had Redman on there. I'm like, what? That's my man. I used to love some Redman. I'm a hip hop fan, so that's awesome to see him a part of the APPICS movement. Again, Uma, co-founder of APPICS, thank you again for joining me today, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you so much for having me.